Welcome to MogulCast, where we uncover the stories behind the world's greatest business empires. Let's get into today's story.
May 2023. A single tweet from a Palantir employee sends shockwaves through Silicon Valley. "We don't sell data, we sell certainty." The company, valued at over $57 billion, doesn't just collect information. It predicts behavior, tracks movements, and anticipates threats before they happen. But this isn't a tech startup. It's a CIA-funded surveillance machine that knows more about you than your own family. This is the full story. And it is worse than you think. It's 2003. The US is reeling from 9/11. Intelligence agencies are drowning in data but starving for insights. Enter Peter Thiel, the PayPal co-founder with a libertarian streak and a knack for spotting gaps. He teams up with Alex Karp, a Stanford-trained philosopher with a black belt in judo, and a group of ex-CIA analysts. Their mission? Build software that can connect the dots no human could. The CIA becomes their first customer, and their silent partner. We will come back to one specific decision. It is the key to everything. The early days are brutal. Palantir software is clunky, expensive, and only works for the US government. But Thiel and Karp have a secret weapon. They're not just selling software. They're selling trust. They embed engineers with intelligence agencies, working side by side with analysts to refine their tools. By 2008, Palantir is handling some of the most sensitive data in the world. But not everyone is convinced. Critics call it a black box, a system so complex even its users don't fully understand how it works. 2010. Palantir lands its first major commercial client, JP Morgan Chase. The bank is hemorrhaging money from fraud, and Palantir's software stops it cold. Suddenly, the company isn't just a government tool, it's a corporate powerhouse. By 2015, Palantir is working with over 1,600 companies, from hedge funds to healthcare giants. But the real breakthrough comes in 2016, when the US Army awards Palantir a $222 The message is clear. This isn't just another Silicon Valley startup. It's an empire. 2018. Palantir's valuation skyrockets to $20 billion. The company is now a darling of both Washington and Wall Street, but not everyone is celebrating. Whistleblowers begin leaking internal documents, revealing how Palantir's software is being used to track immigrants, monitor protesters, and even predict crimes before they happen. The backlash is immediate and fierce. But Palantir's response: "We don't make the rules. We just help enforce them." Now, here's what the media completely got wrong about Palantir. It's not just a data company. It's a behavior company. Their software doesn't just analyze data. It predicts what you'll do next. And they're not just selling it to governments. Banks use it to flag suspicious transactions. Hospitals use it to predict outbreaks. Even sports teams use it to scout players. But here's the catch. No one outside Palantir knows exactly how it works. And that's by design. In 2020, the pandemic hits, and Palantir's software becomes essential overnight. Governments use it to track COVID-19 outbreaks. Hospitals use it to allocate resources. But as the world relies on Palantir more than ever, the company's secrecy becomes a liability. In the UK, a Palantir-powered COVID-19 app is accused of violating privacy laws. In the US, activists demand answers about how the company's software is being used to track immigrants. Palantir's response? Silence. 2021. The cracks begin to show. A Palantir employee leaks internal documents to OI The Interceptor, revealing how the company's software is being used to target undocumented immigrants in the US. The story goes viral, and suddenly, Palantir isn't just controversial. It's toxic. Protests erupt outside their offices. Investors start asking questions. But Palantir's leadership doubles down. In a memo to employees, Alex Karp writes, "We are not here to be liked. We are here to be effective." Memo. In 22. Palantir's stock price collapses by over 60% in a single year. The company is now worth less than half of its peak valuation. But here's the twist. Their revenue keeps growing. Governments and corporations can't quit Palantir, even as public outrage grows. Why? Because no one else can do what they do. And that's the problem. Palantir isn't just a company. It's a monopoly. And monopolies don't care about public opinion. 2023. Palantir lands a $1.20 billion contract with the U.S. Department of Defense. The deal is the largest in the company's history, and a clear signal that the government isn't walking away. But the backlash is immediate. Privacy advocates call it a surveillance state in the making. Employees stage walkouts. Even some of Palantir's earliest supporters start to question the company's ethics. And if you've made it this far, you already understand something most analysts completely missed. Palantir's biggest strength is also its biggest weakness. Today, Palantir's software is used by over 150 government agencies worldwide. It's embedded in the infrastructure of modern warfare, finance, and healthcare. But the company's legacy is far from settled. In Europe, regulators are cracking down on Palantir's data practices. In the US, lawmakers are demanding answers about how the company's software is being used. And in the shadows, whistleblowers keep leaking documents, revealing just how deep Palantir's reach goes. Remember that decision we mentioned at the start, the one that shaped everything. In 2004, Palantir made a choice. They would never sell their software to the highest bidder. Instead, they would only work with governments and corporations they trusted. It was a bold move, and it paid off. But it also created a culture of secrecy that would later come back to haunt them. Because when you're in the business of knowing everything, trust is the one thing you can't buy. Palantir's revenue in 2025, over $2.80 billion. Their market cap, over $57 billion. They work with more than 150 government agencies and over 1,600 companies. But their most valuable asset isn't their software. It's their data. And that data? It's yours. Every search, every purchase, every movement. Palantir doesn't just collect it. They weaponize it. And they're not the only ones. Here's the lesson most people miss. Palantir isn't just a company. It's a warning. A warning about what happens when data becomes more valuable than privacy. A warning about what happens when a single company knows more about you than your own government. And a warning about what happens when we stop asking questions. Because the answers might be too uncomfortable. The question isn't whether Palantir will survive. It's whether we will. If you want to understand how this pattern repeats across every major business empire, how secrecy becomes power and power becomes control, the next video covers a story with disturbing parallels. A company that started with a simple idea. What if you could predict the future? That one is next.
That's the story for today on MogulCast. If you found this valuable, subscribe and hit the bell. A new Empire story drops every single weekday. See you tomorrow.